What's up and welcome to the channel. My name is Headshot and thank you for joining us. Today we're going to tell you about the Stribog SP9A1, tell you everything we know about it, pros and cons, hit the range of course, and do a little bit of comparison. And we're excited to finally have this one on the table to show you. So we are sponsored by our patrons, and if you would like to become a SHOT Team member and come support us over on Patreon, we'd love to have you. Exclusive content and just all kinds of stuff. Come check us out, man, and become a SHOT Team member. Thank you for watching. Let's go ahead and get into it. All right, so one thing you'll notice is it actually comes with a hard case right from the factory, which is really awesome. No cardboard boxes here. Let's open this up. All nicely done, foam padded. You're of course going to get the firearm, so we're going to move that to the side for now. You're going to get 3 30-round translucent magazines. All right, they are polymer, but you get 3 of them. You're going to get an extra set of backup sights. I'll show you more about those in here in a minute. That actually goes to the copperhead, that piece there, so don't worry about that. You're going to get a very simple manual, so it's going to show you breakdown, parts of the gun, safety, warnings, all that kind of stuff, stickers, and a lock, and then an extra backing plate. If you want to take the pistol brace off, you can replace it with that. So let's get this out of the way. Again, I'm happy that they actually give you a nice carrying case. And here is the firearm. Now, one of the most attractive things about this firearm is the price. I'm not going to tell you the price because those things change, but I can tell you it's about half the price of an MPX Copperhead. You're going to save a few $100 from the CZ Scorpion, the Micro Scorpion, and of course it's going to be way cheaper than an SP5 or any of these other firearms. But I don't know that that equates to a drop in quality. I've handled some of those other firearms. I have an MPX, and we're going to do some comparison, hopefully a full-fledged video. But I'm telling you, man, there's a lot of things here. So let's just talk about the specs. You got an 8-inch barrel on this model. Height is 8 inches. The weight is 5.1 pounds, and an overall length of just the pistol at 14.7 inches. So because of the way they designed this, you actually have a little bit longer barrel, and it's shorter than a CZ Scorpion. Alloy material on the upper, which is actually the firearm. Lower is actually polymer. And there's actually Glock lowers coming for these things, which will accept, of course, Glock magazines, which is really nice. So let's start up top here. The gun has been safety checked too, by the way. I want to show you that the chamber is clear, just for anybody wondering. So you have a 1/2x28 thread up here, so if you want to run a suppressor, M-lock rail slots on both sides of the firearm there. You have a Picatinny rail slot up underneath, which is it's already there. It's really nice. So I like the way that they integrated the M-lock and the rail. Very good design there. So what they did on this Gen 2 is they put a non-reciprocating bolt, and if you have one of the original ones, you can actually change that over for, I think, $150, which is really good. Pick rail up top, and you have these flip-up sights. Now, are they a little bit cheesy? Yeah, they're a little bit cheesy, but it's nice that they have them. And one other thing that's nice is if you look at this rear sight, it actually has a pistol sight built in when it's down like this. So if you're in a really bad spot, I mean, this is not great, especially at night. So your red dot goes out, and for whatever reason, you can't use that. Well, now you have a backup in the backup. So that's pretty cool. You actually have a front pistol post too. So that's going to be a heck of a shot. And it's going to be pretty hard to line up because you have just a very small window back here to look through. But a backup within the backup, it's pretty cool. They're low profile. They go down into, not into the rail because the rail doesn't come back this far, nor does it go up this far forward. But it's a very neat design. They're polymer too, by the way. All right, so I wouldn't drop this thing on concrete and expect them to last, but it's nice that it has it. Again, this 6061 aluminum upper. These things are made in Slovakia too, by the way, if you were wondering. Coming back to here, you have a serrated magazine well that is flared. All right, and the mags go in and out really easily. One thing I noticed about this gun is the mags pop right out of there, which I really like that. Getting a fresh mag in is no problem at all. You kind of have these serrated lines and then these bumps on the side there. So if you kind of hold like this, which is what I do most of the time, is I'm doing a hold like that. I find that most comfortable on this firearm. fully ambidextrous control. So you have your bolt lock here, and of course it's on the other side of the gun. Because my hand is so short, I couldn't index this. I could almost do it, but it's really uncomfortable. So if I get the bolt back like that, I can push up and reach. But the most comfortable way I found to actually do this is get the bolt back here like that, and then push up on the bolt release, let it forward a little bit, and you're good to go. And of course, if you just push that down, that's going to release the bolt. Magazine release is ambidextrous as well, but you'll notice on this side of the gun, it's actually a little bit shorter, and it doesn't come back as far as it does on this side. So pretty interesting. Left-handed shooters, you're going to like this a lot. Ambidextrous selector switch right there. So the trigger guard and all of the grip texturing, it is all one piece, okay? So you're not going to be able to swap this out like an AR, but it is a pretty nice stipple job on this grip. I didn't find that it was really too wide or too narrow. It's got a nice feel in the hand, so I actually don't mind it that much. The trigger we'll talk about after the shooting part of the review. And of course, you got a pick rail up top. I decided to put the CTS 1300 on top of this guy, and I just needed to test it out anyways. And I think it's a really nice fit for this pistol here. This one comes with an SB tactical brace, man. And these braces have inspired an entire lineup of firearms that nobody really cared about a couple of years ago. I mean, honestly. The ATF went back and forth with their decisions on how we could use these, but this has opened up an awesome market for a lot of us, man, and that's why you're seeing so many of these PDWs or subguns, if you will. That's why you've seen so many emerge. But I really like this SB Tactical Brace. Obviously, it's side folding. It's got a nice wide button there, so you can engage that really easily. Of course, it's got your strap here, so if you have to use that for support, you can do that. And it's got a nice rubberized feel up top, so it's not too hard, not too soft. Nice big hinge there. And there's your backing plate, so that can come right off. So there actually is an adapter that you can use, which will accept an AR-style buffer if you would like to do that. It locks into place really nicely there. And again, you can see how it engages. Now, don't put too much stock into that right there. That's actually just some of the foam padding that come off on that. You can see I can just rub that right off. Every time I put it in the case, though, it just gets a little bit of that stuff on there, and I just got to wipe it off. An alcohol pad, and it'll take it right off. So don't put too much stock into that. But it's got a nice lockup, no movement at all, and a nice polymer lip there that engages. Coming to this side of the pistol, you can see they're marking SP9A1. It's got some nice import marks and stuff, kind of like very similar to Walther. Of course, this is made in Slovakia, but just really nice, made by Grand Power. And your serial number, of course, and just a really awesome design. And there's a lot of companies that are making stuff for the Stribog, man. So the accessories, the aftermarket is catching up quickly to this gun. There's a lot of buzz around it, man, and that's because of the price, dude. You can't beat the price on these things. Let me show you how this thing breaks down, and then we will hit the range. Actually, before we hit the range, we'll do a little bit of comparison. So what you have here is very similar to any AR. You got a pin here, so we're going to push that pin through just like that. This thing was really tight when I first got it, and it's eased up a lot, but these pins are captured. So I'm going to move my brace over like that. So once you get to this point, you just want to bring this plate. You're just going to bring it back and down. So it's going to be, it's a little bit harder to do it on camera, but it's just going to come down and back. And it just shimmies in place right there. And it's actually held in place right in there on the inside of the receiver. So when we do it the opposite way, it's going to be in and up. And it just kind of clicks into place. But there's your brace. Here is your lower with your trigger group and all of that good stuff. Of course, your captured pins. And again, this piece right here is actually going to be replaceable. There's already a Glock version in the making, so that's pretty cool. Let's pull the bolt and everything out. So we're going to move the bolt back and pull it out just like that. Look at that big block of steel there. Again, blowback design, so you have quite a bit of mass coming back at you. Of course, we'll talk about the felt recoil and all that good stuff. This one is the single captive recoil spring version. There was a dual originally, but now it's a single. Then here is your bolt right here, encased in this big hunk of steel back of the firing pin right there. And then from here, you can see there's really not much to it. Aluminum housing up top, or aluminum upper, I should say. Here's your bolt catch right there. So now that we got to this point, if you want to swap over your bolt handle, you're just going to bring it back to this point here and pull it out. Swap it over to that other side. And then you can move it to this side. So what you have here is you have a little notch right there. So you just want to push it in to this point and kind of pull it out just a little bit so you can get it in that rail. And then the bolt's going to keep it from coming back any further when you're actually firing the gun. Now, I don't want it on that side, but I wanted to show you how easy it is to actually swap your bolt handle over to that side of the gun. Pretty neat. So your bolt's going to ride on the inside of this spring housing here and your carrier group. Recoil spring is going to go in there just like that. And this is going to slide back in here just like that. Push it forward. There you go. So to put the sprays back on, you basically have an area milled out in the top of the receiver there, and then that's going to mate up with this piece right here. So it's just got to slide in and come up and snap into place. Do it a couple of times and you'll have the hang of it. And you just want to put forward pressure in as you're snapping up, and then you can put your pin back in. May take a little bit of negotiation to get that done, but that's it. So let me show you what it looks like compared to a comparable firearm, the Copperhead. Now, I knew the Copperhead was small, but I didn't realize it was this small. So Stribog, Copperhead, butt to butt there, you can see you have a good 5-6 inches worth of difference here. You have an 8-inch barrel in the Stribog, a 3.5 standard in this version of the Copperhead, 4.5 in the updated K models. But still, you're going to have anywhere from 4 to 6 inch difference here. You're going to get some muzzle velocity differences too out of these, of course. But this just shows you how compact the Copperhead is. Of course, full-fledged review. Got to do it with these two. But it is worth noting that the Copperhead only comes with one 30-round mag, and this comes with 3. So let's see how it does at the range. When we come back, I'll show you the trigger, the weight, and we'll also do an overall grade after the pros and cons. We'll see y'all in a minute. All right, so before we get started, I want to let y'all know about Caldwell Shooting. We have their stable table light here, the hydro sled, and then we also have their spinning target down there, which really helps with quick self-defense situations. Pretty cool stuff from Caldwell. I'll leave a link down below for everyone so you can go check them out. Let's try it again. was a lot of fun. Let's try it again. All right, man. Hopefully y'all enjoyed that. I'm telling you what, we had a blast with this firearm at the range, man. We shot a lot of rounds, and I wanted to show you one target specifically. So this was rested, and we started working with Caldwell Shooting, so they hooked us up with a nice table. They hooked us up with a nice rest. They hooked us up with this spinning target and the target camera, so I was able to do all of these things. Finally, I can say, for the first time at the range, I was able to sight in something efficiently and not be uncomfortable. It was just awesome. So I'm going to leave a link to Caldwell Shooting. They do not sell firearms, only accessories for the range. But man, go over and check them out because they have a lot of cool stuff that were able to help us get this stuff done. But again, here is the grouping, and this was at 25 yards. So the first set of shots was somewhere in here. Of course, I pulled a couple in each little group, but man, I'm telling you, these shots are totally acceptable, and I think this thing did a fantastic job. Keep in mind, even in that Hydra sled, which is what I had this in, because of its shorter overall length, I was able to pretty much get it set in there, but there was still, even if this come back just a little bit more, then I would have had it totally locked in and probably could have cleaned up those groups even tighter. And this was at 25 yards, not in a rest, but I had it on the bench, so I was somewhat supported, but I did not have it in the rest. And even then, pretty decent group at 25 yards with this thing. So you're not going to be hitting sub-MOA at 100 yards or anything with this firearm, but you're going to be within those acceptable self-defense type of groups and ranges and accuracy with this gun, which is where I see this gun fitting in the best role. I was talking to one of my local FFLs, some guys that I know really well, one of my local shops here, and he bought 2 of these probably about a year ago, I guess, maybe a little less. But he's ran a bunch of rounds through these things, and he actually broke his in with 124 grain. I just ran 115 grain through mine, and it did just fine. No hiccups or anything at all. Of course, we didn't load up the mags fully each and every time because we would have ran through even more ammo. But you get the idea. The gun did just fine, and we ran a bunch of rounds. Let me show you the trigger here. Let's make sure we're course clear, and I want to show you what it looks like, and then I'll show you the weight. So I don't know that it's going to win any awards, but I don't think it's that bad either. So you're going to hit the wall very quickly, and it breaks. Reset. Right there. And it breaks. Kind of plasticky, little clunky. Not the best, but definitely not the worst. Let's see what it's pulling at on the Lyman scale here. 9 pounds, 7 ounces. Let's try it again. 8 pounds, 13 ounces. One more time for good measure. Make sure we're 9 pounds. So let's just call it 9 pounds to 9.5 pounds is about where this is going to be. So one thing I want to show is how much pounds of pressure it'll take to get this bolt back for anybody that has weaker dexterity in their hands. So about 10 pounds, 10 pounds, 10.5 pounds. So about 10.5 pounds for reference. The M&P Shield 9EZ is anywhere from 10 to 12 pounds. So I grouped the gun to 25 yards. I want this to be a close range type of home defense type of gun. The brace did just fine. I never really shot it without the brace because this obviously makes it way more comfortable and controllable with this. So I really appreciate that. It's got a pretty decent area to kind of rest up on if you need it. And the recoil impulse of the firearm, it's pretty mild. But you can definitely tell you got this big mass moving back and forth. So I wouldn't say you definitely feel more of that impulse with this firearm compared to something like the Copperhead. Again, we'll cover more of that in the review, but it was definitely not unmanageable. I mean, you're talking about a decent sized pistol, and even when we stretched it out to 80 yards, man, I felt like I was always on point. The CTS 1300 did fantastic, and once I got this thing grouped in, man, I felt like I was really adequate with this firearm. A lot of fun. Just a blast to shoot. If I was going to tell you anything, if you go to the range, make sure you bring plenty of ammo because this thing is awesome. The grip and everything did fine. One thing I want to talk about here is the uses of the firearm, and I think it is a fantastic training tool for women, for older folks, anybody that wants to go to the range and have a good time and not have a lot of recoil to deal with. Of course, it's chambered in 9, so you're not going to be, racking up a big bill with ammunition, of course. It's just an awesome gun, man. It's already threaded, okay? So I didn't run it suppressed, so I don't know how it does there, but it's already threaded there for you. You can easily swap everything. The uses of this firearm, man, is just a good training tool for somebody that's sensitive to recoil, and also home defense. I think this gun fits in a great role because it can almost fit anywhere where a pistol can, really, in a bedside drawer, if you got a big enough one, maybe, but this gun has a lot of different purposes. It's already got the rails and everything here, so you can put a light or a laser on it, which is extremely important for home defense. You got to be able to see your target and what's behind it, so that's really good right there. Very easy to control. No reciprocating bolt, which made it really nice. So quite a few different uses here for the gun. Definitely a range gun for sure. Let's talk about the pros and cons of the Gram Power Stribog SP9A1, and the number one pro I see of this firearm, besides the fact that it worked and it worked really well, the price, man. This is very important because not everybody has $1,400, $1,500, $1,600 or even $1,000 that they can spend on a gun. And don't get me wrong, this is expensive. That is nothing to sneeze at, the price of these guns, but they come in so much cheaper than the competition, most of the competition, I should say, that the price point is definitely very good. And I appreciate what they included in the package with it. 3 30-round mags, so you don't feel like you're inadequate and you have to go out and buy a bunch of magazines right after. I really appreciate the price point that this comes in. A lot of people can enjoy this firearm. Also, the combination of M-LOK and Picatinny rail, I think, was a great choice by Gram Power. The magazine release and how that works, fully ambidextrous controls, the way the magazines go in and out, very easily, flared mag well. The grip and texturing of the grip actually felt really good in the hand. The whole gun just has a really nice overall feel. It's got a lot of nice controls. And honestly, even though I didn't use these backup sights, I appreciate that they're there. Somebody that maybe is like, man, I can only get the gun and a little bit of ammo at this time. You can still go out and have a decent time with the firearm, man. So it's really nice that they included so much at such a great price point. The trigger, I'd say, is decent. You have an 8-inch barrel and it's threaded already from the factory. Just another one of those things that adds to the value of this firearm. And mine came with the side folding brace, and I actually like this brace quite a bit. So this actually is a really handy package whenever you're going back and forth to the range. So it's not really imposing at all. So a lot of great features on the Stribog. Let's go ahead and talk about the cons here really quick. The magazines are kind of hard to load. So we noticed as we were putting the rounds in, this got a really stiff spring in there. There's no feed support. There's no support here for the feed ramps either. So that worries me over time. How durable are these mags going to be? Mags are about $30, I think. But I like the fact they are translucent. You can see how many rounds you have left, but I'm just worried if this is not supported over time, will that last there? Now, one thing too I think would have been nice is if they given you the ability to change this grip out. It's not the most comfortable thing. It's a little goofy, but I think it works pretty well. The texturing and stuff I actually like. It's just a little awkward feeling, so it would have been nice to be able to change just the grip module out there. Now, one thing I do appreciate, this firearm comes with backup sights. I really do. They're a little hokey. They're a little hard to use and hard to pick up. So I would definitely recommend getting yourself a decent red dot on this thing, or reflex or whatever you're going to run on it. But I appreciate they're there. They're polymer. I wouldn't I wouldn't depend on my life with these things, to be honest with you, and they're a little hard to use, so just keep that in mind. But I definitely appreciate they're there. I think that's more of a pro than a con. It's just something I wanted to mention. Also, this selector switch right here, it kind of gets in the way. This is just something with any kind of pistol or rifle that has a selector switch right there. When I'm standing at the ready here with my finger off of the trigger, it's just kind of digs right there a little bit. Not a big deal. You should really have the safety on whenever you're at the ready in this position anyways. So it's just a minor little thing. Not really a big deal at all there. I am kind of nitpicking at this point because I can't find a whole lot wrong with it. Mrs. Headshot enjoyed it. This thing is really awesome. You're not going to be winning any precision accuracy awards with this thing, but for defense purposes, I think it's great. This bolt release, using it as a release and a lock, it's going to take a little bit of adjustment, I think, for AR guys and stuff, but it's not bad. It's just going to take a little bit of adjustment to be able to get this thing, to be able to use it. All right, so, but it's really fully ambidextrous, man. The Stribog SP9A1, what an awesome firearm. In this category, I'm going to give this gun a 9.5 out of 10 at such an awesome price point. A good looking gun. The finish and everything on this firearm is beautiful. I don't see any machining marks. It just looks awesome. Here's the only caveat I see with it, and I hope that nothing like this happens, is the fact that we don't know over a really long time how is the Stribog going to hold up to some of the other firearms that I mentioned in the beginning of the video. We don't know, but I know that right now, for what most people are going to do with it, highly recommended, man. The Stribog SP9A1, great price point, a lot of awesome features, and I'm excited about all of the different accessories that companies are going to be coming out with this thing, because it is going to be immense. And again, it comes in at a price that a lot of people can afford. 9.5 out of 10, Stribog SP9A1. Absolutely love it. Thank you for watching. If you are a power patron or up, look for your special outro coming right after this. We'll see y'all in the next one. And as always, hold them down.